All right, so okay, I'm gonna open up this meeting. The Administrative and Budget Committee of Barron County Fiscal Court will meet Monday, October 18th, 2021 at 2 p.m. at Barron County Fiscal Courtroom, 3rd floor, Barron County Government Center, 117 North Public Square, Glasgow, Kentucky, to consider the following agenda. The meeting will be broadcast shown by live Barron County, Kentucky YouTube page. Anyone wishing to comment or participate in these meetings should contact the office of the Barron County Judge Executive 270-651-3338. So I will call this meeting to order, and we're going to change the line items. We're going to start with number 5, and the sheriff is going to come and go ahead and let's hear your presentation, please.
All right. Thank you, Squire Bots, and the Budget Committee. Got 3 things here, and I'm going to start with C, record storage.
You want to go to the mic?
Sure.
Public can hear you, please.
I'm going to start with number C there, or letter C on our agenda, Mr. Bots, on the record storage. I think, ladies and gentlemen, are working on the demographics of the demolition of the old jail. And I think that's going to come up here in conversation pretty soon. With that said, we have a room up there that we store records, old tax bills, citations, case files, a variety of stuff. And that's regulated by the state's retention record schedule. So every one of those documents that I named has a different time frame. And we won't get into that. It's an all-day conversation. The fact of it is the jail's going to be torn down. We've got records up there that we have to keep by law. So I did a little research on a climate-controlled storage unit here locally for a 10-foot by 20-foot storage unit. It was going to be $250 a month currently. Now, that doesn't mean it's locked in at that, sure. And that honestly, that 10 by 20 will probably not get the amount of records I have over the years adequately in that room. So I just wanted to put out on the table for discussion that we need to be thinking about. I would think about as a county for us possibly constructing something, even a metal building, for future purposes. If I can call on your memory, do you remember the dimensions of the building that was built at Jackie Browning Park that Maxie uses for the?
Yeah, I think it was like a 30 by 40, and it may be just a little bit bigger than that, but not much.
Even something like that, where let's say we had a concrete floor and we did just a corner of it with a window wall mounted air conditioner, because some of the records, or many of the records I have, doesn't require a lot of climate control. But I just thought I'd bring it to the table for some discussion here or even later, because I'll do the legwork coming up the next few weeks to try to get some estimates and some dimensions and talk to some different, whether it be builders or whoever. We don't have to get into any contracts, maybe just doing ideas for what it might take to build something under said specs, 40 by 50, 40 by 40, whatever it may be.
Are you currently still in your training in the facility in Glasgow? Do you have a time frame that we're still going to be able to be using that? Is there a date, a shut off date or anything, or they're just still fortunate that they're letting us
proceed?
Is that something that we need to look at in possibly a joint training facility / record keeping building too, maybe, because we may not always be fortunate to have that. I'm just thinking, so maybe you may want to, when you're getting your proposals, Billy, I'm just thinking that we may want to just go on and build it bigger and maybe go on and get that possibly big enough to do the training and then do the storage.
We're about to talk about putting this down.
Well, that's the only thing I don't have any idea on, Billy.
Oh, there's enough room down the county road department now to use mine.
No,
I think it would.
Now, I was going to start with the stuff to store. I just didn't know where to put such a building or item, I don't know. That's why I wanted to bring it up for discussion. And obviously, we don't have to decide that today, sure, but we got 3 more meetings in this year, and I thought we'd put our heads together. I'd present this because a lot of the things I have are future projects or items that we need to look at. So
When are we looking at that material to have to come out, Judge, in the demolition, if everything goes right?
Master Coomer will be opening those bids tomorrow for demo. And I believe it's 90 days, it'll be on the ground. Within 90 days, it'll be.
We're probably for sure
Yeah.
we need to line up storage units for
Yes.
sure, I would think.
and of course, you guys can do the math a lot better than I can. If I got my math right, I figured $250 a month for a year is $3,000. And if I have to get 2 of those, you know, obviously we're talking about $500 a month for a year. You compare that, and again, I don't have any figures on the new construction of the metal building, but you start looking at rent versus owning, and in 5 years, you could possibly have something paid off at that rate.
Well, then again, we're not just looking at the building, we're looking at where we're gonna put the building.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
2 or 3 things that probably, I understand because I'm conservative, but we're probably at a time crunch that we're probably gonna have to do a storage unit. I don't think with all the construction people that I know, probably not gonna be getting to a building
Yes, sir.
anytime this year. The ones that I know of don't even want the phone to ring until after the first. And then we know winter's coming, and that's just, unless you all have connections, and that's fine if you do, but we gotta still hunt land. But yeah, definitely we need to get some figures.
What
But I
about
would
the
probably
old
think
jail? I mean.
Judge
our
thinks
new jail.
different.
Well, we have a couple of spots there at the transportation department, half acre here, maybe over there, that we could probably put some storage buildings up, you know, if the court decides to do that. But as far as inside the current building now, we don't have room for that. But we can move things around to utilize space. Yes, we could do that. So if that's something you guys want to explore, we could do that.
So Sheriff, you're willing to go ahead and you, and I think you talked, Helena has talked on some of her records too. If you all could figure out the size and then figure out possibly your training size, and let's get a package together and look at it. If you're willing to do the
Legwork, I'll do
legwork,
legwork.
or do you want, and I can talk with Master Coomer, and we're gonna have a committee meeting and we can talk about it, but if you're willing to do the legwork, I'm sure he'll be willing to let you do the legwork.
Yeah, I can come up with something by next month's court meeting, the November meeting. I can come up with approximate figures, heights, widths, lumber estimates, stuff like that. Obviously, as you know, market changes on all those items, but I hope from what I hear, it's starting to plane off and maybe gradually inch down rather than continue up. So, but I can do that.
Thank you.
I'll get my stuff.
Billy, you have any more to comment on that line?
No, I just said we could probably get the Amish put one up.
And did we? Is
Right,
Mark
the place,
not
that's the
on?
name.
We haven't heard anything from Mark.
Okay, that's fine.
So-
Well, me and Billy's, we still got enough to proceed. Okay, you want to go to your next line item?
Yes, sir.
Will you?
Onboard computers, let's go up the list. I have a, again, over here that I brought. I want you to just see it, touch it, look at it. What this is basically a laptop with some beefed up case on it, armor case. I'll open it here and pass it around. Obviously, you can see it's got a handle, unpack it, unclose it up. Has a variety of features. We have something similar to this in our cars that we do reports on. We do accidents, we photograph with it. It has a variety of USB ports on it, HDMI ports, variety of things. A local agency here sells these. They're made by Dell. They're catered to emergency services, ambulance, fire, police, whatnot. What I'm getting at, in 2015, we started purchasing a tablet, which is similar to this, to do our reports, accidents, everything that we work from the car. Years ago, they called them mobile data terminals. And we kind of got away from those. We were looking for cost-effective items. So now the items that were purchased in 2015 are starting to age out. Obviously, we're in 2021. So we're starting to see some problems with them. Some of them still work well. Some of them are having some difficulty. I'm gonna bring this around to you so you can touch it, look at it, eyeball it, and then I'll get back to the microphone. It's actually on.
It's an outlaw.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I've seen.
So, again, for discussion, to look at that device, I talked to the local vendor. That device runs about $1,900 a piece. Basically, with the introduction of a lot of the online stuff, all the online reporting with the paperwork, they're starting to face some paperwork out at the state level. So to update and upgrade our onboard systems, this is the next option that we're looking at, is this item here. If you're done with it, Billy, I'll show
Yeah,
you.
it's pretty, like, be pretty rugged.
That's what they're showing.
Yeah.
You want to look at that Kenneth's. Total Kenneth will need 12, but you don't have to get them all at once. Kenneth asked you a question here in the back, how many do we need? To suit everybody up right now, on the road deputies and whatnot, we would need 12. And that doesn't mean we have to have all 12 at one time. We could do 6 and 6, depending on the year, whatnot. Roughly, you're talking about around figure, about $2,000 each. I think it quoted me $19.10 today, but they said depending on if I order 5 or more, I get a discount, and it goes to $18.75 a unit. Of course, you get the charger and everything with it. So, item of discussion for future equipment here.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about real quick, of course, it's just the third, fourth month coming in on your budget. Are you wanting to look at possibly in your budget, taking out some of your equipment for this item, or you wanting to save and wait up and make sure you don't need anything else? What's your plan?
Well, Squire Bots, I'm gonna examine the budget a little closer. Again, today's format was to introduce, talk about it, get it on the tail, and see what direction was. I'm going to examine the budget here in the next few weeks and months to kind of see what accounts that we might could take this out of. And in conjunction with that, Squire Bots, is plan for the 22-23 budget year also.
Okay.
Again, a lot of these things are some planning phases on that, and that'd be the final.
But no immediate need then is what I'm hearing from you.
Not necessarily immediate, not urgent, Squire. Obviously, if I had them tomorrow, I could use them. That conversation is all, we would put them into play, but it's not something that we're going deficient because we don't have them right now.
Okay.
Okay, the last one is Taser. I'm gonna, Squire, hand you an estimate that was sent to me by Taser while I explained some things in reference to this.
I'll let call you back.
Squire Butts, I gave you an estimate from Axon Taser that lays out a 5-year plan on the, any of you have heard the Taser device. I don't know, I don't have a cartridge in this one, but as you can see, when I turn it on, it emits a light and there's a little laser there. You can see the laser at the end. It's a targeting device. This is a less lethal electronic device. I'm sure everybody knows a lot about the Taser from this point. However, the model we have is the X26P. And it is on the table to be phased out by the Axon, the manufacturer. That printout that you have there, gentlemen, it lays out the 5-year plan and the once a year payment. I believe it's 13 something there, Billy, in those lines on the front page.
13,252.14.
Okay. this initial estimate that they have given me is a one-year payment for 5 years of that amount. And or we could call them back, negotiate some stuff to make 2 payments a year, biannual payment if we wish. There's multiple negotiation points on the price. In that is included the device, the cartridges that goes into it, maintenance plans, software downloads. So that is an all-conclusive thing. It's a holster that these things fit in also. Some of the points of interest is this model here is on the slate to be discontinued because it's the oldest one that they have in their distribution. So in the months to come, this device is going to be phased out. They're replacing it with another. So again, I want to present this and get it on the table for us to discuss or think about whether we do something now or we do something for the 22-23 budget year. Now, obviously now they're pricing that, giving me some discounts before we get into the 22 year. The company says their items are going to take a price increase in the 22 year.
So I'll ask this question again, as what I asked on the last one. If you've done the priority of the computers versus this, how would you rank that? If you could, of necessity.
Squire, I would probably rank this above the cabinets.
I thought probably would.
Yeah. This is more of a personal protection device. Sure. It's safe both for the officer and the subject they're dealing with. Less lethal, obviously, you've seen in the news over the several months. Less lethal has come up quite a bit. It's a very, very safe device. It does many cases. Many times we hear, unfortunately, some of the negativity on the news about it. But if you were to study it and talk to agencies all around the nation, they would tell you it's probably the best piece of machinery they've came out with in years to assist in the control of hazardous people, hostile folks.
So to make it clear for our committee that these are just presentations and you're not wanting to ask for any possible purchase order for tomorrow's meeting or just conversations right now?
Conversation right now. However, I'm not saying we wouldn't get into that Squire Bots in the November meeting, okay, or possibly December. Because here's the things that, and I'm still digging into it, and we've got the paperwork there. They break it down on page 2 and page 3 of every year we get so many cartridges that goes into it. Every year we got so many batteries. It's basically a maintenance and replacement plan for the accessories of the device. I have a presenter, one of my employees that just went to the master instructor course, and he can come at a later date and show a little demo in here of how the device works, because the new model actually, when you're addressing a combative subject, you can actually rotate the taser and it will actually change cartridges. It has 2 so there's a long distance cartridge and there's a close quarters cartridge, and you can literally rotate your wrist. It will change that cartridge depending on your distance. Also, there's the mandatory information recording that the system does. They go in twice a month, hook it to the computer. It downloads all the information that this taser was used, whether it was tested, whether it was fired, whether the battery was low, whatever information is stored in a database downstairs on our computers. So if we go to court, if in some type of litigation, that can all be printed out, brought up, saved, and introduced into court to say how it was used, whether properly or improperly. I just want to put that out there because
sure.
That as Mr. Bowman used to say, you know, what can you tell us about future plans and stuff? And so, hey, I thought this was a good time to put that on the ground.
Okay.
You can never have enough equipment. Good.
That's what I thought, really. We're trying to keep up with law enforcement agencies all around the country, obviously. And we've done a pretty good job, really. Thankfully, that y'all helped me out and allowed us to go forward with some equipment and things and devices to keep us competitive to other agencies. And this is just one of those times where things have changed. Electronic equipment.
When you come in to give a demonstration, can we go ahead and nominate Tim Coomer to be on the receiving end of that demonstration? Yeah,
I'll give them.
yeah, I vote for that.
Yeah,
Second.
I was gonna joke on that. If you got one you twist around for the dogs that get after you like they do me when I go to residents' houses.
Well, we don't, but a little pepper
That was
spray
a joke,
works
but
pretty handy.
you need probably some for dogs too. Well, appreciate your report. Anything else you have?
That'll conclude mine for the day. Just be aware that I'll probably be showing up in the next meetings with a similar discussion on the same topics, whether it be up-to-date information, whether it be improved figures, whether it be urgencies of these items or whatnot. So again, just getting the ball rolling.
Do you want to, I'm assuming you'll be here tomorrow. Do you?
That's my full intention.
Okay,
Yes,
so I
sir.
didn't know if you were wanting to address the whole board, or do you want us to
Be glad to. I'll
simplify it and just say, here's the 3 items?
I'll be glad to talk about it. I'll be glad to do the same thing I did today.
A lengthy.
We are.
If you wouldn't mind, I would just tell them that unless, just as what you're asking for, no POs, and here's the information, and if they want to know any more information, that I'll let them get with you.
Sure.
And if not, November meeting, we're probably gonna have some stuff for us to look at.
Right, that's our first of our estimates right there. We know that the 20 units, that I'll summarize the paper. We know that 20 units, which would put one of these on every sworn deputy that we have, SROs, road deputies, detectives, whole 9 yards, would be $13,600. Is that right?
13,252.14.
Okay, and that's
yearly.
per year for 5 years. And they send all the maintenance products, all the batteries, the cartridges, all that. It's kind of like a service plan. They update that. And we can choose to make a biannual payment. We can cut that 13 and a half or 13 in half and make 2 payments throughout the year, 4 or 5 years. And they do that purposely because a lot of agencies like ours are small and they want to get their product out there to those agencies. So they make different payment options for those agencies where they don't have to spend that much money at one time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that was line item 6. I guess, Judge, we can go to 2, and I think you're gonna talk on the American Rescue Plan.
Yes, it's going to be a joint effort here with Jenny and some of the things we've been throwing some ideas around. And as we explained in the last court meeting, we have to have some things put in place. I know there's an October 31st reporting deadline. And so obviously we're going to be petitioning the court tomorrow for premium pay, which we know is acceptable through the federal dollars. And so Jenny's just sort of made you a little bit of a chart here of some of the areas that we've talked about. As if you remember, Ms. Schartzer, golly, that's what her maiden name was. Ms. Steenbergen, when she was here the other day,
Got me then.
yeah, when she was here the other day, she told you that she and we've been meeting with certain, mostly the healthcare sector, that's the nursing homes, the hospitals, just to kind of see what the immediate need of the public is as far as it's relating to the pandemic, and they've shared those information. So that's how we sort of come up with the healthcare needs. And we can break that down because it's going to be on the responsibility for the healthcare facilities to fill out a form to tell us those specific needs. We just listed it as healthcare. We may only spend 15% in that area, but we're just kind of using a conservative number there. That way, if it's 25, we wouldn't be asking for 5 more, or we could just live within our means. But that, and, I think we've been pretty well focused on the youth. Master Botch, you and Master Houchins, y'all know the need that we have at the park with all the kids that we've had that's in the recreation program. And this may be an opportunity for us to do that. We can break all those things down. But I want to focus on a lot of the special needs, the opportunities for the special needs kids, not only the kids, but the adults as well. So, I think we should think along the lines of that. And then we sort of throwed out the water fire hydrants, because water, sewer, and broadband, we know are something that we can spend money on. Well, in the conversations that I have with the fire chiefs, they have areas in the county where they don't have adequate volumes of water, and they have to shuttle that water to different areas. So basically what they did, each fire district gave us 3 spots in each district where they truly need fire hydrants at. And obviously they would tap into a 6-inch main to put these fire hydrants, and we've got the cost on the fire hydrants. And if you look, the 24% here, to put the hydrants in, you're only talking about spending 6% of that. So you've got that much left over. So what I thought I would petition the court to do is, if we could go ahead and put at least 2 in each fire district, I think that would definitely help. And then we'll kind of reevaluate where we're at, because there may be something that comes up. There may be an area in the county that a 6-inch goes down to a 4-inch, and then it just stops. And then from there, you have more homes being built that water line needs to be, and we may be able to help the utilities extend those lines. I don't know. I don't really know how that looks, but those are just some of the examples. But the premium pay, we know it's going to be 18%
Or less.
or less. Yeah, or less. So Jenny has run those numbers close. And I'll let Jenny explain a lot of that. But this is just kind of a where we're at. But keep in mind, we have to follow those federal criteria to make this happen. I mean, this is not something that me or Jenny or Krista or anybody like. It's a federal criteria that we have to follow. But we would definitely like to get the premium pay going, because we have to do that. The August 31st filing.
October 31st.
Yeah, October 31st filing, and that's coming on us pretty quick. But with the premium pay, you look at it, guys, that's morale boosters in your county for the employees, that work through COVID, was here every day. And I think that's just a great way to say thank you to the employees. So Jenny, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about the lost revenue, admin, things like that.
So the admin, I think you guys are going to talk more about that on actual court date. That's for if Krista gets hired, to do her part, as well as the things that she needs to do her job, for example, a laptop and, things like that. So that's just a 1% of the total distribution. The lost revenue, we don't really have a number yet. Krista is working with the Brad office to go through they gave us a formula that we have to use. And so she's going through that with them so they can help us figure that out. That number will fluctuate quarterly. So I don't really think it's going to go over 2%, but I don't know that. So that's kind of a give and take on that. All of these numbers in this pie chart that we made are probably going to fluctuate. We don't have anything set in stone. And there's really no way to give anything a definite dollar amount. the projects that we're thinking of working on, we need to have a little leeway, up or down, either way. That's why we thought that doing percentages would be a better thing to do, so that if, for example, the fire hydrants and the water goes under 24%, we can move that. We can add it to another area. Also in the youth portion of that, we put ball fields and special needs. We can also add different projects to that as long as we stay within our budget. We are open to discussion on those issues, as long as, you know, that people that make suggestions realize that we're going to have to go back and look at our rules and see if we can do it. But we're definitely open for things like that. We can add to those areas. On premium pay, we're wanting to ask the court to approve that for the October reporting. We have to have some designation on that report. Doesn't have to be all of it, but we have to have some. So we can have premium pay and we'll have some lost revenue on that, and that will satisfy them for that report. Now, on the premium pay, I introduced this in the last meeting that we had. They give us the ability to pay, and we're not going to do this, but pay up to $13 an hour over and above what somebody was making for the hours that they worked during COVID. We obviously are not going to do that to that extreme. However, we did want to keep it as fair as possible for people. So we ran a report that lists actual hours worked during the time frame they gave us was January the 27th of 2020. And we did a cutoff as of September 3rd payroll. So we ran a report for the actual hours worked, and we calculated it at $5 an hour. There are there can be some fluctuation there as well, because until we actually cut these checks for people, I can't give you a definite figure, because there could be people who quit. There could be, you know, different things could happen, but I can give you for a fact it will not go over the 18%. It could go under the 18%.
Is this going to be taxed?
Everything. It will be taxed, and it is also subject to retirement. All of this money comes out of the ARPA funds.
So I'm just saying, what I'm saying, the individual, say if they get a $5,000 check,
They
is
won't,
that, they're gonna have to pay tax?
yes,
It's not already taxed.
no,
They're gonna have to.
yes, it will be minus taxes, yes.
Well, you'll be taking the tax out, won't you?
Yes.
I was gonna ask something else, but I got senior,
Well, any expense, as far as the county, any expense we would normally have as far as retirement expense and all that, comes directly out of these funds. We have the ability to do that. So it won't cost the county anything. It comes out of these funds.
So when, as far as for the premium, does the state or government have to have an answer of some kind of numbers? When do they have to have that? What's the deadline?
In the reporting that we have to do on the 31st, as far as I'm aware, we are just listing a number that we're working towards. It doesn't have, it's nothing in stone, even when we do a projection for them. This is just, what are you projecting in these areas? They're wanting to know that we are working towards spending this money in the right areas. And they've already given us so many months to have started working on this, and and now they want to see some numbers. So October 31st is when it's due. I have to have it turned in. Well, that's on a weekend, so it's gonna have to be by that Friday before, which is the 29th. So we're gonna need to have that agreed on in the court for this, for Tuesday.
There's no way it has to be tomorrow for it to happen.
It would have to be
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it has to be. Yes. I mean, I'm open to questions, you know, if you guys,
You don't have numbers, but you have to have a close number if you do the $5.
yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, it's not gonna, it will not go over 1.6. And that's including all the pay, all the retirement, everything, the whole bundle. It will not go over 1.6. It will probably go under that.
And that's based on $5.
Yes. On actual hours worked.
Right.
So that it's
During-
fair to each
Correct.
individual who actually was here.
And-
You know, I have, with the position that I'm in, I mean, I deal with employees a lot. I deal with the fact that our employees, the ones that did show up to work during this pandemic, I just think they ought to be rewarded. They could have gone on unemployment and maybe brought home more money than they did working for us, but they didn't. You know, they came to work, they worked hard, they showed up. And like Judge said, I mean, they know that people did go on unemployment and make a lot of money. They know that. So what are we gonna get for coming to work? I've heard it so many times. What are we gonna get?
So,
Well, you know, let's reward them for that. Let's give them that morale booster that they need, you know. Make them want to stay with us.
all right, so let's just say if there was an individual in our, you know, on the payroll that had COVID, he or she used that. And 3 or 4 families, so say it ended up, let's just say 7-week person out there. We obviously know he's not, or she's not gonna get money for the 7 weeks, so are they gonna still get the money on the time that they worked
Yes,
before?
yes.
That's probably.
Regardless if you were out 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you're still gonna be in that group of people for the days that you did show up and work.
But we can make that, you're coming up with numbers. Can we not make the numbers look different on the individuals?
What
Because
do you
there's no
mean?
way for this to ever be fair. but
It
I'm
is
looking-
fair.
No, there's really, but here's what I'm gonna say though. The ones that didn't take off any, didn't get COVID, didn't whatever, is there a way to have a percentage more for that type of person versus? Is
No,
not
that
gonna
would,
work?
that would
We're
be
coming up with
unfair.
numbers.
Yeah, that would be unfair. The only way to do it, any fair way, is to keep it across the board the same. Because you're getting this pay for the actual time
Right.
that you were here. You know, and yes, people did get to stay home and they got paid for staying home. But they're not gonna get paid any extra for that in this premium pay. They got paid for that, but those hours are being deducted from the hours that they were. Does that make sense? They weren't here, so those hours don't count for
So
them.
there may be a question asked tomorrow, probably is, we maybe we may don't need to go real deep today because it's just gonna rewind tomorrow, but a question is probably gonna ask, if we didn't do anything, then where does that money go?
Somebody
Say if
else,
somebody, one of the court members don't want to do, I mean. you're
I
gonna
think it
lose
would be
You're gonna
sad if
say
that's
answer.
the case.
Yeah,
Honestly, no, we don't lose the money.
No,
We
we don't
just have
We
to
just
spend
got-
it somewhere
we can
else.
put it in another pie.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you all just created, we all created the 18%, but the 18% is not a concrete number. It could be
12%. It could be 10%.
Or it not even a category. I'm just asking, because I mean, is it mandatory any of these?
It
You're
is
just
not
coming up-
mandatory.
I'm just,
No.
It is not mandatory. It is in the eligible funding
and don't get, I'm
category.
for this, I just don't know what.
Yeah.
the
No,
core
it's not,
percentage
nothing
they're
is
gonna-
mandatory.
The increase, I've done heard one comment, because we've already increased, we bumped up to $15 an hour, and.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with that.
I know that, but still, I'm just telling you how.
I understand, and I'm just trying to be a devil's
I'm just
advocate as
saying
well. I mean, I'm
if
just
that
trying to
money-
answer those questions.
That's why I was just asking, so I can clarify that money is just not a certain pot, it has to be used or it's not, so there's not a certain.
If it's not used, then they have to go back when we get on.
No, I think you gotta spend it.
You have to spend
You
it.
have to
You
spend.
gotta come up with something, spend it.
Something.
And our thinking, when we first started talking, the premium pay is, to me, was the no-brainer for the employees. Cause I've talked to 2 other counties, and they've already paid their employees. And how they paid them, I don't know, but, you think about, even the ones you talk about, Jeff, when they were off, we didn't charge them any sick time. So they got to keep their sick time, plus they got paid 100%. That was a benefit in itself,
And then really get-
Yeah, so, but when I first seen it, I thought premium pay, that's where we've got to go, because that's just telling your folks, thank you.
Well, I don't have a problem with it,
Yeah.
I don't personally, because you kind of know where I've been in all along on the increases. I'm just,
Well,
just have to see what tomorrow.
it's just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like we're increasing their pay again. It's just a one-time premium pay appreciation, basically.
I mean, as fiscal court, we can't write bonuses,
No.
but now with this money here, it affords us the opportunity to do that one time.
Sounds good, I think.
One time.
I just called my wife works here. It is, I mean, like Jeff said, we raised
Well-
all the, up to $15 an hour, again, pay, where some people want to work to give them 20.
Well, I think it's another tool to help retain people too. And plus Jenny's gonna have to decipher who's not here anymore. Even if you worked during the pandemic, but you done quit, you're not eligible. So,
It's for only
Yeah.
active people.
yeah,
While we're talking on this whole, the realm and then the admin, and I know tomorrow, I'm assuming tomorrow, we've got to get as quick as, I mean, this is consuming you, and we got other branches, and you got your normal job. I mean, you're consumed here on this now, and we're needing you to be on, and I'm not, you need to get back to what we want you to be on. And so tomorrow, we're not gonna try to talk about a type of salary in our committee meeting. We're gonna wait till tomorrow.
we can talk about it today if you want to.
Well, we need you guys to be behind us.
Get some kind of base today.
Yeah, so with Krista, of course, obviously you can pay her salary out of this money.
Sure.
And in our investigation of consultants, a consultant's anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Well, I would like to contract with her for $48,000 a year, and she's good with that. She's okay with that. So
You're
that's
saying 48.
48 annually. And obviously that money can come out. Of course, and also, Master, we can't go into closed session and talk about that because she's contract
Well,
labor.
then we need to just do it. now.
Yeah, right. And we've talked to her about the 48. She suggested the 48. Again, you take a consultant's minimum 80,000, so, and plus with her resume and background in grant writing and, she's got the expertise, and plus she's worked in government before. She's volunteered for 3 months here, to get her feet on the ground, and that will take a lot of pressure off Jenny. Of course, obviously you'd have to work with Jenny, but that would take a lot of pressure off her.
She ain't got time.
No,
None of the employees got time to do this.
no, it's gonna take a lot of
Yeah.
time for
Don't do it.
someone.
Did you just talk with her on this number?
This is the number she suggested to me. So, and of course, obviously the court had to vote.
Sure. Well, I would like to just simply, if you all done talked about it, Billy's here and we got
Yeah.
our committee meeting, since we're on that
Sounds all right to me.
line item, I'm gonna make a motion that we're gonna present to the court tomorrow, $48,000 for salary for 1 year in the contract, just 1 year, and then we renew that contract.
Correct.
So I make a motion, Billy.
Second,
Second, I say I'm in favor, so I say yes.
yes,
So motion carries. We'll present that tomorrow. You know, we could go on it, but they're gonna ask a million questions tomorrow. We're really no use doing a lot more. We've kind of got the basics of what you're gonna talk about tomorrow, but it's just gonna be a repeat
Right.
if you keep,
And
you
two,
know what I'm saying?
well, we just want to get you guys on the same page we are so that tomorrow you're not asking the same questions they're asking. You're gonna know what we're talking about. So not only are we gonna ask for the premium pay to be agreed upon so that we can, our goal is to issue those checks the first part of December. But we're also going to ask for a general agreement to the distribution percentages that we have for these different areas. And I'm going to try to explain this right. We talked about it this morning. So a generalized agreement on these percentages with the understanding that we don't have finalized numbers on any of these projects, and it's kind of hard to do that until you get in there and start doing it. And that we will bring monthly reports on these different projects. Also, for example, like on the youth and the ball fields and the special needs projects, before any of that gets started, we'll bring that before the court and, you know, present it. But what we would like to do is have a generalization, and then so that if we need to do some preliminary work to get some of this started, to even bring it to you guys, we may incur some bills. But we can't pay anything out of these funds until we have approval. So with the understanding that we'll bring bills and bring everything before the court before we actually do anything on a project, to give us some kind of generalization of approval that we can move forward to even get some of these started. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
so basically, we're talking about, Krista, we got that, so we're gonna present as our committee that this somewhat pie shape that you formed, that you all can use that as a base to even get started with. So we need
Right.
the whole
Yes.
court's approval, because we don't even know,
Because it could change.
because if you don't have somewhere, y'all are lost, and then we're gonna.
Yes.
say,
Right.
We have to have a generalization starting point. And that's what we would like to get approved. And then as the changes occur, we'll bring them before you guys and get them approved.
I think it's a help of morale for all employees.
Yeah.
We got a good thing going, right?
Oh, yeah. I think so too. And you know, Jeff, you may come in and say, well, I want to help out widget builders. So I'd like to allocate 5% to go, you know, now we've got to turn around, Krista, and we've got to do the study on, well, who received PPP money, who's eligible. I mean, there's a process to all that. You know, we can't just say, okay, every widget maker in the county, we just cut them a
Right.
check. Because they're not eligible if they've already received PPP. So, and on that side of it, the business has to do the legwork too. They've got a form to fill out to say, here's what we do, here's what we received, you know. So it's not just say, okay, let's go fund. It's like the other day with Bridge. Okay,
Yeah.
they would have a form to fill out. They're nonprofit. They're probably eligible. But what will knock them out is if they've already received PPP money. But it's up to them to explain all that to us. So that's just the example there.
Well, we can, as far as I need to make a motion on this or just present this to the court.
Present it. Like I said, well, this is just the starting point.
Yeah, we need a
But
starting
we've got
point.
to get Krista going. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for
even
sure.
though we gotta get her officially in. We need,
We'll do all that tomorrow.
Well, the expense that Jenny was talking about, we've purchased a computer for her. So we know that can be paid out of the ARPA money. So that's one of the expenses that, we would need to.
Right, and we can't pay that yet until we get approval.
and when
Yeah.
we're looking at this premium, I mean, even just like Jenny, for instance, she's our treasurer, we pay her the back of example, but, we have to look at even though it's the hours that she's put in, not just Krista on this, we need to look at that somewhere or another when you're looking at individuals. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at this magnitude, it'd have to just be everyone straight across the
Yeah, I know,
board.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I'm,
When you're looking at fire, it's never really.
Yeah,
fire.
because then you're gonna
Even though
say,
you think it's fire,
well, you got $1 more than I did. Why'd you pay them $1 more than I did? Because I
Yeah,
did
we
this or
wanna-
I did that.
we
But
wanna,
anyway, that's just.
we wanna
examples.
eliminate any, yeah,
I think just, and I'll let Helena comment on that, but I think if someone with employees, it'd be easier for her to say, well, listen, it's fair across the board, everybody, versus saying, well, this is the reason why we gave you this, and this is the reason why we gave you that. To me, that would be a nightmare, having to explain those things. So,
Somebody's gonna bring
Well-
something up like that.
yes, they will.
well, I mean, you can't please everybody all the time, but I think that, it would be very ungrateful for any employee to gripe about getting
Free
this
money.
free money, regardless of how much it is. I think that everyone should be grateful for it. And then again, going back to the amount that we're paying versus what we could present, I think we're trying to be very conservative, but still reward our employees for the hard work that they've done. And I mean, it's not costing the county a dime. It's free money. So why would we not want to do that?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, any more information you want? I know you're gonna rewind all this tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
probably even more. There's
I
gonna be
just-
a lot more questions besides what me and Billy's asked.
Yeah, and that's fine.
guarantee.
That's fine.
And we should be, but it's just
Sure.
gonna be a lot of repeating.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's fine. I think that's all I
Any
have for
more
today.
that you want us to understand? I mean,
No, I think that's
we're
pretty much
kinda-
it.
I mean, appreciate the pie. We're saying at least a starting point. And like the judge said, if, each district, we can go out and ask some of these line items, that we want to see. And that has to be kind of how you're gonna make that fair when me and Billy's district is, we got that many people, but we don't have roads, but we're not really dealing with roads.
But we
We
can't
have
spend this
people.
on roads.
I guess that would be, about the only thing fair is we do have the numbers, we just don't have the roads. So
Right.
this probably would be a normal situation.
Yeah.
All right, any more? We got, guess we talked about A and B. Any more on that?
I'm done with that, I think.
All right, well, for sure tomorrow we're going to present and get the salary and ask for that report, and then we'll start talking about the pie. And then, we're gonna go down to line item 3, interlocal agreement, parent emergency communication center. Judge, I guess, is there anybody representing that, or we're gonna talk about stuff?
Well, I mean, as we brought it up the other day, may just have to take it to the full court, see what everybody thinks about it. I mean, it's something that would have to be worked in the budget. It is a contract, so, we did give them a donation so they could do their raises, and then now, we've got
Is any of that in this pie?
no,
They want this every year, aren't
no, they want this for each year.
each
Right,
year.
but I'm just saying,
I mean, even if it is in this pie, we'd still have to come up with it the following year if we
right,
decided to.
it's just like the contract,
Mhm.
1 year, and we talk about it.
No, we haven't talked about it being in this pie, no.
Don't know if it can be, we'd have to look into it.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that would be something that, if it was, it would probably help determine
might
the
be.
decision tomorrow.
Well,
I would think.
but that would be for 1 year, then they would want us to to do it for the
Well,
next
I mean, we
year.
already done it. We done it.
Yeah, but that was
Here
just,
we are too.
They want it every year.
yeah, but they want it every year now,
Right.
yeah. Then we'd have to, third year, where do we get it from the third year? You know,
Well, what it amounts to, they probably, keep giving raises. I know you can keep giving them, but
I think it's something that we need to work out in the budget,
yeah,
you know.
it'd be budget for sure.
Not to say it can't be in the pie, but as long as it falls under the criteria, we just don't know if it falls
Well, I
under
mean,
the
I
criteria.
just thought that would help the decision of maybe doing it 1 more year. if
True.
we knew that
Well,
it
good
was-
point, good point.
And because we're wanting to help them, and that's the
Mhm.
reason we voted it in the last time, and it was a budget. And we
Right.
went on there.
We can look into it.
And I don't know if you can do that between now and tomorrow, or just see, or talk to Krista and see if she can check on that. I think that would determine whether it happens tomorrow or not.
Sure.
I just know the court probably well enough. If it was there, then I think it possibly can get through. And then, yes, we'll talk about it the next budget time. We're not obligating for just 1 year. And, you know, if they do big time salaries or whatever, just based, you know, we're only obligating 1 year. But if I knew that it was in here, then I wouldn't have a problem with it being on the budget, that we can consider with that, for sure. And that's just my personal opinion. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, sounds all right.
So we'll just put that off and then we can get an answer. And if not, we'll keep putting it off till we'll end up talking about it budget time.
Tim's the one brought that up. That time.
Correct, that's correct.
Wait, make sure we're.
All right, we'll talk with the court tomorrow, and if we can get, Jenny, if you would get with Chris
I
on
will,
that. And
yeah.
if you all, and I understand it's not maybe gonna be 100%, but if you think there can be a line item to look at and fill it in one of the pie holes, we'll do that and talk about that. Let's go to line item 4. Lena's here now, and I'll let you come to the mic and please talk into that, because this is a pretty good little number here.
Okay, so what I'm here asking for is the purchase of election equipment. We have talked about this a number of times. We did budget it. Jenny, I didn't bring that election budget up here with me, of course. I do have the estimate in front of me, but I didn't bring like what we budgeted.
What's your estimate?
172.12.
I think we did 170,
Okay.
I think.
The $2,675 is for the recycle of the old voting machines. And I feel like that is a reasonable number, so that may be where I'm a little bit over the budget amount. I will say that the State Board of Elections has received some funding. I was hoping at the end of last week, I would know more about that, whether, how much they're gonna give to each county that is purchasing new election equipment this year. They're meeting tomorrow, and I don't think that meeting, I think it's gonna kind of go along with the same time that we're meeting, so I don't think I would have numbers from that to present. But my understanding is the State Board of Elections, the numbers that they're presenting are anywhere from $2,100 to $5,000 per precinct. In Barron County, we have voted to go to voting centers. We're gonna have 4 voting centers for next year's election, but we still report in precincts. So we would have 26 precincts to report, 25 precincts plus the absentees. So that makes
You
26.
said 5,000 a precinct.
That's the highest amount, Billy.
Oh,
We're hoping we can get that. They had $2 million, and then, it's my understanding they've gotten an extra $6 million from the governor. So there's $8 million that they're gonna distribute across the 120 counties for the ones purchasing new equipment this year, and if they have purchased it last year. There's, some counties are not purchasing new equipment, they've already done it. And they are like the larger counties, for example, they're saying they don't need the money, they've already taken care of this. Here in Barron County, we would love that money, so we will definitely, my understanding how we would receive it is we would make the purchase, we'd have to pay the vendor, and we do have to advertise for this in the paper for the voting equipment, and we have our specifications and everything that we are requesting. But basically, we would purchase the equipment, and then we would make a request to State Board of Elections to be reimbursed. And all basically from other counties, my understanding is we would just have to give them the serial numbers from the new equipment once we got it in. I've talked with our vendor that we use all the time, or traditionally here in Barron County, is Park Enterprise Incorporated. We have a really great relationship with them. They're well known and respected across the state. They clerks prior to me have used them here in Barron County, and I have a great interest in continuing that. Obviously, it's all about bid, but with everyone hoping to get this funding to purchase the new equipment, the longer we wait, the longer, to make this purchase, we do jeopardize being able to get the equipment in and get our poll workers trained on it for the upcoming election. So we want to be ready and able to use this equipment for May next year.
Okay, again, we did talk about it budget time. We knew this number. We've kind of been saying this 172 or somewhere in there. So basically, you're gonna ask the court, or asking us for a PO for 172,012.
Correct.
And then, hopefully tomorrow, we'll hear some good news on what they're gonna do.
Hopefully, and I will let you all know that as I hear. I know some concerns. So HARP actually came to Barron County and presented and demoed this equipment last month with the local board of elections and with some of our court members. Billy, you were here. Kenneth, you were there. Yeah.
Mark here.
Mark. Okay. Yes. And I believe Tim also.
Yeah.
One of the big concerns Mark brought up was storing these machines. And I want to be, I'm just going to bring it up myself because I like to be honest, and any issues, I want to get them out front. It's a concern. We've had a concern for many years, but just a clerk, I can't, build a storage facility for these. I know the road department does a wonderful job helping us with this equipment, but these new machines are, like the old machines were when they were purchased. It's a very big investment. We want to preserve these for many years to come. They have to be, temperature controlled, handled with great care. And I don't know, I'm so sorry I'm late.
Well, the sheriff is
Okay.
working on it.
Okay.
So,
I would be in great favor of working alongside him to try to secure that a facility. And again, it has to be large enough because these machines have to be inspected, they have to be set. The Board of Elections meets in the area of the equipment 3 times a year. So we just,
I was at the presentation last year. Is
Yeah.
it basically the
It's the same
same?
equipment. They've made a few modifications
Okay.
for the better. And again, the most important thing is always protecting the integrity of the ballot, of the voter. This would allow us to be 100% paper voting here in Barron County. And I'm just going to use layman terms, but we have like the scanning, whenever a voter comes in, they can, get their ballot, they mark their ballot, and they scan it into the big black voting machine, the scanner. If we have our handicap voting machines that do not produce a ballot currently, that data is stored on that machine. And so if we had a recount, not just a recanvas, but a recount, then the vendor has to come in and download the data off the machine, and at that point it would print off the votes, basically. The new equipment actually prints that voter out a ballot that voted on our handicap accessible equipment. So that is amazing. I love that. It would make us 100% paper for every voting machine. So that voter can take that ballot and scan it into the same scanner that every other voter would be using. Don't have questions.
Oh, well, I've seen it, so know what you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yeah, and they did a great presentation.
So did
and
you-
it is pretty much the same. They just
Did-
made a few modifications.
Did you say you have to advertise?
We do have to run it in the newspaper, basically requesting bids for.
So
this spec-
Can we
have to-
approve a
have-
PO if we have to do that?
It's in the budget. Isn't it? Yeah.
It is
I
in
mean,
the
if you
budget.
have to go by the-
170,000
how do we
is in the
approve a
budget,
PO
yes.
If you have to give, put it in the paper.
Well, we have to,
Take the best bid.
yeah, we have to go ahead and
Although I
authorize,
Say it's there.
yeah, go ahead and authorize the legwork to do the bids. Obviously, that'd be a contract I'd have sign off on and all that good stuff. So
Okay.
Sherry will be able to explain all that to you tomorrow.
So I'm gonna make a motion, Billy, to Harp Enterprise, that we purchase these voting machines for $172,012 even.
I'll second it,
Second, and I'm in favor, and I say yes.
yes.
So motion carries, and I will present that to the full court tomorrow.
I appreciate that.
And we did talk with the sheriff, and he's gonna be looking at some building sizes, and that's to fill you in on that, so,
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Ms. Sarah.
thank you. So is there any other, well, there's no other, structural line item, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Yes.